Makhachev next, right? In Perth? Let's go. Cheers, Dana. Thanks, Hunter. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Legends. Cheers, guys.
Save the welterweight division.
Yeah.
Save the division.
Save it.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, Jack Della Maddalena beat Bilal Muhammad last night. And apparently, Jack Della Maddalena is going to be taking on Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev is going to be moving to the welterweight division. And that looks like the next matchup for Jack Della Maddalena. A very, very tough one. Now, what is interesting to me and what I think should have gone down, right? And I think this is only fair, is the fact that Islam Makhachev should fight somebody at welterweight before he faces off against the champion. I mean, I think that's completely freaking fair. I mean, if we're being honest, Ilia Topuria was greeted with the exact same thing whenever he moved to lightweight, that he needed to test himself against a legitimate contender in the lightweight division before facing Islam Makhachev or whoever is the champion. Now, do we paint Islam Makhachev with the same brush? Do we pressure the UFC? I think all those conversations are obviously over. Islam Makhachev is going to be facing JDM. I mean, I think that's the likely fight, and that's the fight that everybody is hoping for. Even Dana White hinted that, at the press conference. And I think that fight does go down. But I just think that it's extremely hypocritical that Islam Makhachev moving to welterweight doesn't get a tune-up fight. He doesn't get to fight anybody that's ranked in the welterweight division to see if he's whether, or not capable of beating those guys. Now, this is the fight that we all wanted. We all wanted to see Ilia Topuria take on Islam Makhachev. In my honest opinion, I think that Ilia Topuria is going to be fighting somebody for the interim belt at lightweight. Don't know whether it's going to be Justin Gaethje or Charles Oliveira. I am betting on the fact that it is Charles Oliveira, and I think that that's a very dangerous fight for Charles. I mean, I don't know if Ilia Topuria's power translates well to lightweight because those are bigger guys, and Charles Oliveira is a bigger dude. Whether or not Ilia Topuria is able to sit down someone like Charles Oliveira, that's a bigger guy. I mean, those questions are yet to be answered, but I think that that's a very dangerous fight for Charles Oliveira. If Ilia Topuria is able, to translate his power well, moving up to that division, but let's just say Ilia Topuria does beat somebody at lightweight, whether that's Justin Gaethje or Charles Oliveira, and he does become the interim champion at lightweight. Islam Makhachev says that he's not giving up the belt. He's not vacating the lightweight belt. We might see still Islam Makhachev fight Ilia Topuria. Maybe a couple months down the line after Islam Makhachev faces JDM. That's my honest opinion, because if Islam Makhachev isn't willing to give up the belt, it only makes sense that Ilia Topuria fights for an interim belt, right? And then he fights Islam Makhachev if, Islam Makhachev doesn't vacate the belt and is able to compete, coming back to lightweight after he faces off against Jack Della Maddalena. There is some people out there that are saying that Islam Makhachev should be stripped of his belt, and honestly, there is some merit to that. The only thing that I will say, and like I said at the beginning of the video, I think that Islam Makhachev should have gotten a tune-up fight. I think that's only fair since they're making Ilia Topuria do the same thing. I don't think that the UFC is gonna make Islam vacate. I think that they're betting on the fact that Islam moves up to welterweight, has a successful fight at welterweight, becomes champions there, so that the fight between him and Ilia Topuria just becomes even more massive. Like, that would be an incredibly freaking massive fight for the UFC, without a doubt. It would probably be one of the biggest fights in UFC history. Probably up there in top 3, since the UFC is absolutely massive right now. Two big stars from two big countries, coming together to have one big, huge fight. It's just a recipe for freaking money. And the UFC obviously is in the business for making bread, making that guala. And if Islam Makhachev does beat Jack Della Maddalena, they're able to push this fight. It's going to be one of the biggest fights in UFC history. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you guys think that the UFC should strip Islam Makhachev? Do you guys think that the UFC should have made Islam have a tune-up fight at welterweight before fighting against the champion? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts. As always, it's a pleasure. Peace out and have a good one.